Though they're pretty much opposites in the way they play the game, Steph Curry and Kyrie Irving get compared a lot because they play the same position and have had some epic battles in the NBA Finals. But again, if we look at stats and numbers, they tell one story. But again, if you ask people in the NBA who they would rather have on the team, the answer is actually divided. Let's explore and see who of the NBA's top point guards is actually a better player. Cue my intro! Hello, YouTube fam! It's your boy, Big B. So to start with, I gotta say, this is the second part of analyzing Nick Young's now infamous tweet saying Kyrie is to Curry what Kobe is to MJ. People are scared to say he's better. To translate Nick Young's moronic speech, Kobe is actually better than Michael Jordan, and I will link the video description here where I actually analyzed that. And Kyrie Irving is better than Steph Curry. With Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan, they both actually played very similar game. They had the same build. Kobe patterned his game after Michael Jordan. They looked the same. Even though the question or the assertion is silly, the comparison actually makes sense. Whereas with Kyrie Irving and Steph Curry, it's very hard to compare outside of them being not normal point guards who can fill it up better than most. But the problem is, when analyzing these two, is that the way they get their job done is literally night and day. Steph Curry is the greatest three-point shooter of all time. He's also, what people don't talk about enough, is he's the greatest off-ball mover of all time for a superstar of his caliber. To translate it for you, for those of you in the back, this means that Steph Curry is an excellent player to build an entire franchise around, because the way he plays is more inclusive and team friendly, and he allows other people to be on the ball. Which in a game of basketball, when there's one ball being tossed around by 10 people at one time, having more than one person per team actually get to hold the ball can't be a bad thing. If your superstar in Steph is doing that, that enables a lot. But the bulk of Steph's scoring comes obviously from behind the three-point line, but it also comes from cutting. His in the paint game over his time in the NBA has vastly improved. He's got an excellent floater. He can beat big guys off the dribble. He can beat even his regular defender off the dribble sometimes because of his elite off-the-ball movement. Of course, he has incredible handles too. I mean, he's a top guard in the NBA, of course. He's done amazing things with those handles. I think Chris Paul's ankle is still broken.
Chris Paul, man, what's up, man? Who? You ain't Chris Paul?
Nah, who are you?
Oh, you ain't Chris?
That being said, the bulk of Steph's scoring is behind the three-point line and on cuts. While Steph is the greatest shooter of all time, Kyrie Irving is widely regarded as the guard with the greatest handles and layup package of all time. So it's like what the other excels at and the other is not so good at, the other one is excellent at. They're kind of like a yin and yang. Kyrie Irving can break down anybody at any time with the biggest bag of anybody when it comes to dribbling. Because he played on a broken hoop in New Jersey, he figured out every angle to get a layup off. He's also underratedly strong. He will go up and finish over much bigger dudes. So let's again, before we continue, acknowledge and say both these gentlemen are absolute killers. They are incredible. But it seems at this point, analyzing their games, it would come down to almost personal preference. Like, do I prefer this guy? Do I prefer that guy? One is super ball dominant, a scorer, can get you buckets. One doesn't need the ball as much to score, but can still get you buckets. So now we must go to the tape. Let's look at the stats, because if we just look at the breakdown of their game, it's hard to say who would you rather have, who would be better. Let's look at the stats and see. Okay, as we do, we'll start with championships. So Steph Curry has won 4 and Kyrie Irving has won 1. So Curry clearly has more, but Kyrie Irving's 1 was beating Steph, who was on a 73-9 team. And I must say, Steph played the worst I've ever seen him play. So that's why this conversation's even happening, is because on the biggest stage, especially in that final, Kyrie Irving was by far the superior player. And see, these things do matter, right? They do matter, because in the NBA finals, it's a little different than a game in March, right? They both been in the league. So Steph Curry been in the league 15 years, Kyrie 13. Playoffs, Steph 9, Kyrie 7, all right. All-Star game, Steph and Curry 10, Kyrie Irving 8. So even, given that the difference in the seasons. Season MVP, Stephen Curry 2, Kyrie Irving 0. Okay, that's a big one, because Kyrie has not even been close to an MVP award. And an MVP is massive, right? You're not just doing it over 16 games or a playoff series or blah, blah, blah. You're doing it over 82 games. And Steph Curry did that twice, back to back. And the second one was the only unanimous selection in NBA history. So again, context matters. So Steph wins that handily. Finals MVP, Steph 1, Kyrie 0, kind of whatever. All NBA first team, Steph Curry 4, Kyrie 0. Oh man, okay, that's massive. That's massive, bro. 4-0. Look, man, yes, one individual can impact a lot, but basketball is a team game, and the individual who impacts the team most is by definition better. Unless you want to change the rules of basketball. All NBA teams total, Stephen Curry has 10 to Kyrie's 3. Again, so this is too far of a delta for us to be like, oh well, X blah blah blah. You know what I mean? Like, I already gave a disclaimer with the finals championships, but this, nah, man. Steph is just way more all NBA teams. Oh, but you would say Kyrie has a bigger bag, so he's probably a better scorer. Huh, but Steph Curry has 2 scoring titles to Kyrie's none. Steals leader, Steph Curry has 1, Kyrie 0. Rookie of the year, Kyrie has 1, Steph 0. But this is the first one where Kyrie has clearly had a better stat. Everything to this point, it's been all the Chef Curry show. Now, if we go to stats per game, points per game, Curry with 25, Irving with 24. Okay. Rebounds, 5 and 4. Assists, 6 and 6. Steals, 2 and 1. Blocks, both a half. Okay. Stats are very close, actually, guys, on an individual level, which is very interesting. But if we go to totals, total points, Stephen Curry, 24,000. Kyrie Irving, 18,000. So how is it that players who have almost identical points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks per game have vastly different total points? If we look at total rebounds, Steph has way more. Total assists, 2,000 more. Total steals, 500 more. And here's the answer. Total games, 956. 729. A difference of over 200 games played, despite only being in the league for a couple years more. And Curry himself faced a significant amount of injuries in his first couple years. So what this is saying, and unfortunately for you Kyrie Irving fans, this is a factor that goes against him, because the best ability is availability. Look, man, you could be the greatest scorer of all time. You could be better than Michael Jordan. You could be Michael Jordan on steroids. But guess what? If you can't play, we can't see you. So the best ability is availability. And Steph Curry wins in that handily. And it has contributed directly to team success, because they have the same amount of individual stats, but one guy has been more available. Yes, we can also say that Steph Curry's teams were better, because that's a stock argument for him against everybody. However, when we're talking about Kyrie Irving, that argument actually doesn't hold as much water, because guess who was on the second best team throughout Curry's heyday? It was Kyrie's team. It was the Cleveland Cavaliers. They played each other 3 damn times in the finals, maybe 4. I don't even know anymore. 3, 4, who knows? But they faced off so many damn times. And the Cavaliers cakewalked through the East. So Kyrie Irving also had elite teams. And oh yeah, he had a guy on his team. What was his name? Oh yeah, LeBron Raymond James. So before you guys get carried away with the team argument, it doesn't hold as much water, really. Okay, so now let's go to their best season, because this can show what each is capable of. Points per game. Stephen Curry, 32 in 2021. Kyrie Irving, 27.4 in 2022. Yeesh. Those are incredible numbers. But Steph Curry has a 5-point advantage. Rebounds per game, close, but Steph has him beat. And again, assists, steals, Curry has him beat. Blocks, Kyrie by a little. So we can keep going here, but unfortunately, the stats have already revealed the full picture. Despite these two being some of the greatest point/2 guards we've ever seen, with completely different skill sets that significantly complement each other, with one being significantly good for X and another being significantly good for Y, I would take Steph Curry to shoot a 3 any day over Kyrie Irving, but I would take Kyrie over Steph any day to get me a tough layup. That being said, all being taken into account based on stats, based on efficiency, and most of all, based on accomplishments and winning, Stephen Curry is clearly the superior guard to Kyrie Irving. Let me know in the comments what other comparison video you think would be amazing and that I could dig into for you. Peace!